Hi! Good morning. A pleasant morning to all of us. Kumusta kayong lahat dyan? Hope okay kayo. Whether you are in MECQ, GCQ, or modified GCQ. Welcome to the fourth STARS webinar series entitled Student-Centered Activities for the New Normal Classroom. Right now, we're still waiting for more participants to come in. So we're expecting 100 participants to join us today, coming from all points of the country. So this online forum is brought to you by the Project STAR, or Science Teacher Academy for the Regions of the Science Education Institute, Department of Science and Technology. I wish that you find this forum valuable to you as a professional and hope that learnings may be applied to your schools or workplace when you return to school or as you deliver other modes of teaching during this new normal education. So once again, good morning to all of us. So at this point, it's a pleasure to introduce our resource person, Dr. Amelia T. Buwan from Mindanao State University Iligan Institute of Technology, or MSU IIT. Dr. Buwan is a Doctor of Philosophy in Education, major in Research and Evaluation at the University of the Philippines, Diliman in June 2017. She also had her Master of Arts in Mathematics Education at MSU IIT back in 1997, and she earned her BS Education major in Mathematics also at MSU IIT in 1992. Currently, she's an associate professor of technology at MSU and also the dean of the College of Education of MSU IIT. In September 2019, she was a visiting professor at Konkan University in Thailand, and she was also a lecturer at the UP Open University from 2013 to 2017. Back in 1994, 2000 to 2004, she served as master teacher at Iligan City East High School. Among the many accomplishments, actually, these are I just picked a few, are the following. Was able to publish vast number of scientific articles in peer-reviewed international journals from 2010 to 2019. She was able to produce printed and electronic instructional materials on science and mathematics education. She also served as plenary speaker, resource person, trainer in a number of local, regional, and international conferences and trainings. She also served as project coordinator under the project evaluation of the OST SCI Science Teacher Academy for the Regions Training Program, from August to December 2018. She was the outstanding MSU IIT CED IDS alumni 2019. And this is our favorite favorite accomplishment. She is one of our most loved star trainer since 2014. Okay. So folks, it is a pleasure to have with us today Dr. Amelia T. Buwan.
Morning, everyone. So parang nakikita ko there are familiar faces na nandito din. So welcome participants to this webinar. So I hope everyone is okay. So kahit na hindi araw-araw makalabas ng bahay, okay lang tayo lahat. Here in Iligan City, we are MCQ. So we have another name. It's not a national name, but we name our local government modified quarantine. I forgot the C. Here we have teams. We have the blue team, green team, and orange team. Yung mga blue team, makakalabas lang sila on, I belong to blue. We can just go out on Tuesday and Friday. If you are a green team, Wednesday and Saturday. And then the other days are for orange team. So meron kaming dito, liga dito sa Iligan City. Kung sino lang makakalabas ng bahay on that day. Okay? So I hope iba-iba yung pag-handle sa atin ng local government unit, but best po yung ang iniisip ng lahat is we will be in good health. So for this morning, I will be sharing to you the student-centered activities for the new normal. I hope this new normal maybe could be the forever normal. But of course, the COVID aalis yan. But we will try to use the new normal as an opportunity to innovate more as a teacher. Okay. Okay, so here we have a survey when you log in or register to this webinar. We have a survey. I asked you 2 questions. What has changed in your practice as a result of COVID-19 crisis? So when I tried to look at all the responses of 100 responses, these are the things that came out. So you do collaborate online. So we have teacher collaboration, and some of you have arrangement to do your schoolwork online, and many of you are also exploring digital and online resources. Marami po akong nababasa that many of you are exploring recording your lesson and upload it to YouTube. And others are exploring some learning management system like Google or Facebook for future use on this opening. And then the second question, how did you imagine access for your pupils if they learn at home? Some, maybe these are from private school, say that use of online tools will be used. And then some say set up flexible learning mode. And then other teachers say, mahirap yung internet sa amin. I have to prepare print materials for our learners. Okay? So in this session, we'll try to focus on these 2 questions. What is that our learners must know, understand, and be able to do? And if this is what they know and understand, what is the evidence of learning? So how do I know that they understand? So what's the evidence of learning? Yun yung we want always to plan of. Even though there's a new normal, let's not forget about our framework for science and math. So what is our learners must know and understand and be able to do? Remember, so science, basically we want to develop skills and scientific attitude, as well as we want to develop inquiry, learning, inquiry and inquisitivity towards our learners. For mathematics, it's simple, two skill, critical thinking and problem solving, but this is not simple to teach. We have to plan well so that students will develop this critical thinking and problem solving skill. So even though we are in the new normal, as teachers, we still want these important skills to be achieved in science and mathematics. So with that, since it's a new normal, maybe some of our students right now are just playing at home. Lucky for those pupils, maybe if their parents are at home at hindi naka-quarantine ng area, but some students maybe wala yung parents nila or nasa auntie or uncle or lola lang sila. So we must be very sensitive on this situation. So therefore, before you plan our lesson, we must know our learners. Who are our learners? And what are their activities at home? What are the situation of their family? Where are they now? So therefore, thinking about our learners, we must, if you are now writing your module, if you are now planning your content, we always think about how relevant is our activity to our student. If that activity before is relevant, is it still relevant in this time of uh, this time? Is it still relevant? And then you talk about how do we engage students? Even though we have social distancing, and even though maybe they will not be in the school every day, how do we engage students to their activity? And if we think about activities, since we are planning that DepEd is planning that we will open our schools, but there will be 20 schools in the classroom and then the other 20 is at home. Therefore, we need to think about what are those achievable outcomes that we could do this school year. And more importantly, we need to think about how clear our direction to our students if they are staying in their home or if they are in school for just 2 days. So we need to plan the holistic. We must consider who are our students and how do we address their individuality, as well as who are our students. If you are using technology, how do you address the different types of access? Students could have different type of access. Some have technology, some maybe don't have technology, or some may have an access fully online. But we couldn't say that in a classroom everyone has online access. But all of these three types of access are our future students in our classroom in this opening. So we must reach to our student, okay? So as we do this, if you are familiar with lesson study, we do plan together as a math teacher. All math teacher will going to plan together and then think of a lesson, implement it in a classroom. All math teacher will go to the same classroom, reflect and revise their lesson. But for this time, it's not enough that only the math teacher will plan alone. The math teachers will plan on their own. It should be a holistic planning. We must think about what is the essential outcome for science classroom? What are the essential outcome for mathematics classroom? And what is the essential outcome of English and other classes? So we must talk as a school-wide because we cannot afford that students right now, we are in a pandemic, at the same time we added them another pressure because of school activity. So therefore, in our school right now, if we implement lesson study before by area, now the framework of our lesson study is wider. We have to consider all the subjects that the students should take in a school year. And not only that, we will not plan as per week. All teachers should know what will happen for the whole school year. And then think about how do we deliver the lesson for the whole school year if you know what will happen for the whole school year, and then what are the essential outcome that the school could think about. It depends on the level of uh, GCQ or MCQ or ECQ, right? So we must consider that. So there are a lot of things to consider now. But what is very important for Filipino is our bayanihan spirit. We must collaborate. We must work together for our students, okay? For learner success. So we must reach our student, plan relevant lesson, make it engaging, achievable, clear, holistic, and always reflect what happened in the implementation as, as a group. So last May 19, 2020, Assistant USEC Malaluan announced that DepEd now roll out the essential learning competency. Out of 14,000 plus competency in our curriculum before, now it's only 5,680 plus, okay? So therefore, then what is this 5,000 plus? And these are essential. So if this is essential, we must work together as a school to plan out how to deliver this 5,000 plus competency. It's because we are teaching now, not only for today, we are teaching for our students how to prepare them for the future. So even though we have lessened the number of competency, but this competency are essential. These are not just listing of competency. These are important competencies that we must plan out, and you cannot do that alone. A support of our principal is very important because it's their policy that teachers could work as a group, like the Bayanihan spirit. So again, let's go back on what is that our learners must know, understand, and be able to do. It's not enough that a science teacher will plan out for her or his student. It's not enough for now. It is better if you talk to your math or PE on how in what way could the competency of math, PE, and science could be achieved, thinking about this essential activity that maybe they could do at home. These are projects that they could do at home, and this project is an essential project that could develop those essential competency. Okay, so therefore, if it's impossible for you, if you're a grade 5 or grade 6, if it's impossible for you to talk 8 teachers, maybe you could think about maybe your colleague that you could talk about, okay, math, science, and PE. Let's talk about what is your essential outcome for the whole year. What could be the learners will look like after finishing PE, math, and science? And what are the essential projects that we could think about that students could do at home or in our school, in our community? In that way, maybe if they go to school, they learn the important content, but during learning at home, they're working with essential projects that could be graded by at least two or three teachers. That will minimize their load, that will lessen the stress of our students as well as the parents. So this is just a presentation on identifying a competency in each subject area, and then think about a very important performance task so that we could connect to our students and they will learn those essential concepts in science and math. Like for example, I tried to look at this is grade 3. One performance standard is able to recognize and represent fraction. And in science, here, apply the knowledge of the sources and uses of sound. Okay? So can science and math think about? Don't be also in planning for this thematic project, don't think about that your lesson in second grading, you could map that out in second grading in science. That will be very difficult. It should be, you try to look at the curriculum, the whole curriculum of grade 3 math and the whole curriculum of grade 3 science. Even though they have to discuss that in fourth grading, maybe in science, but here in math, it is in the second grading. In what way could you rearrange the activities as one grade level teachers in such a way that we could decrease the load of doing project for our students for next school year? Okay, so every teacher, we should be very careful in designing our lesson in the opening. So with that, let's go back with that, learning fraction, as well as apply the knowledge of the sources of sound. Like for this example, this can be easily be done at home. a glass, fill it with water at different capacity or different volume. And then in math, you could have the question, how much water? How much water do you use to fill the 8 glasses? And then how would you compare the water inside glass 1 to glass number 7? And students will now think about tunga or kaopat sa Bisaya, no? Or maybe glass number 1 to glass number 5. Maybe the learner will say tunga or half or kalahati, right? So therefore, they're learning fraction in that way. So actually, I found it very difficult to when we tried to observe classroom in grade 1, they found out it's really difficult to learn fraction, grade 1. But when we start maybe fraction that could be applied in real life, like dividing the amount of water in glasses in 2 equal parts, and then they will understand 1/2. They would also say tunga, right? So therefore, we must be very careful on thinking about what are the resources at home that students could do, and then they will learn science and math. Okay? And then how will you compare the amount of glasses the amount of water in each glasses? And then when you have a spoon there, and that will produce a sound. And then the student, you may challenge them, why does it produces different sound? Right? So therefore, they may, if they go back to the school, then they may ask the teacher why, and then you may discuss that. So that's a blended way of implementing a lesson. But the teacher should be very creative on thinking about what are the resources at home, and then how could I manage these resources and use it in my printed materials or module. Okay, in this time we don't use internet or online tools, but for those who can use internet, the student could always research and think about the term of pitch maybe. Okay, so therefore the process of developing an engaging lesson, first step, analyze your learners. Gauge the student needs. What are the resources in school, community, as well as home? Okay? And then think about, there may be part of your questionnaire or you may interview them. How are they? Kumusta ba sila? Kayo, kumusta ba kayo ngayon? Right? Because if you are not well, then you're not ready to receive information. And then you try to look at identify essential competencies in your curriculum. You try to map in different subjects across learning area, what are essential competencies that we could use in this type of activity at home or in school or in a community. And then how do we define our assessment task? And then we plan the learning experiences. Okay, so right now I want a break. No, maybe you could chat. Could they chat, LJ? No. What could be your answer here? On the average, how long do you wear your face mask in a day? Do you use their chat, LJ? But I cannot see your answers. How long? Maybe if you cannot use your chat, you just think about the answer of this. Do you wear it for 1 to 3 hours? 4 to 6 hours? More than for me, since I'm part of the skeletal force, I'm wearing face mask. Actually, it's here beside me. 4 to 6 hours a day, Monday to Friday. Okay, what about you? And if your students if we open our school in August, every students will wear their mask, right? So how long will your student wear their mask in a day? So with that facial mask, because we will think about of a project, okay? So I'm looking at the curriculum of math and science. I forgot what grade level was that, but I guess that was grade 5 or grade 4. So there's a competency, there's solve problems involving measurements, and then identify properties of materials in science. So our assessment task would be design a face mask, okay? So the task is designing a face mask. So this is how we will challenge our student in our classroom. The problem, people can spread germs by coughing and sneezing. So that you would be also aware what happened now, and you could explain that well. If parents haven't explained that well why they have to wear masks, you can explain that well in the classroom. People can spread germs by coughing and sneezing. People wear masks to catch droplets from their own cough and sneezes and prevent breathing in droplets from other people's cough. Therefore, the solution is wearing a mask. But the problem is it's uncomfortable to wear that for 6 hours. Can you find a better solution? So it's almost time. So to do that, actually, this pandemic will give us an opportunity to help our students to be more self-directed. It's not about the face mask that we will design. It's not about that. It's not the output. It's the process of making the output. First is, you must help our student how to write their goal. What is your goal on this project? If our project is designing a face mask, then what is your goal? We will help our student during this pandemic that every person now should be self-directed. You must write your goal, and then if that is your goal, how do you track your progress? So how would you write that as an instruction in your printed materials or in your online materials? And then help them to plan. The planning here, this is the thing that we could develop thinking. What if the size of my mask is this one? What if I change it, the dimension? Will it cover my nose? Or it will not cover my nose? What ideas can we come up with this design? So answering this question in designing a face mask would help them to develop thinking. And then if the plan is okay, in my classroom before, I don't let them proceed if they don't have a good plan. So I check their work before they go to do. They cannot proceed if they don't have a good plan. And thinking about asking some question, what if, how might I, okay? So these are just starters in my classroom before. And then in the do, they can now implement their ideas in the planning. What materials do I need and how much it costs? And then if they have done that, they have to review, they have to go back to the things that they need to accomplish. And then lastly, this is my favorite part, when I ask my student to share their output. Congratulations, you made it. You may now share the process of making the design or your face mask in this case. Okay, help our student to be self-directed, and this time help them write their goal, plan, help them plan. In the plan, this is the most important part because you will teach them what if, how might we do this one, okay? And then you ask them to review what happened and then share. So if it is a new normal classroom now, they are not every day in our classroom, you may want to plan out that the goal and setting the goal and planning so that you could check that they really have a plan. It could be school-based. And then they could do the project at home. And then when they go back, they may showcase what they have done. It's up to you, or how many days will they do a specific project. Actually, I posted this problem in my Facebook account, and some of my students tried to answer this. Okay, so this is one of the idea. And one student could not buy materials, so he just sketched a drawing. Okay, so it depends. So you can differentiate instruction. If your student cannot buy because they don't have money, then I hope you always also think about your assessment. Is the one who give a good design because she had a lot of resources, have bigger grade than this one who have least resources. You have to think about your assessment. We must be very flexible on our assessment because it should be, which we should address equity, even though because you are thinking about the resources that they could have at home. So that's being a flexible learning. Another thing that I want you to think about, how much budget do you allocate for food in a week? Is it less than 500? 501 to 1,000? 1,001 to 2,000? Or 3,000 and up? Maybe you have an answer, right? Why I'm asking this? Because remember, we can make a lesson such as like this, very practical, but there are a lot of important content that we could teach in this, the family budget. The problem right now, parents are stressed about money because of the of COVID-19. The solution, the government really tried their best to give assistance, right? For food and another essential. A problem with this, the financial assistance was not enough for some families. And then, can you find a better solution for this? So the task is make a budget with your parents how to spend money during this COVID-19 crisis, right? So these are project that is relevant for students right now. Actually, it depends on the year level. You could do something like not only budget, but still uh, you could teach budget using algebra concept, number sense. You could use it in interpreting graph. It depends on what is the competency that you want to address. Okay, so actually the opportunity with family budget is they could work with parents on family budget. Okay, so their parents is a very good resource on this one. So this is an example of an activity where parents can work together with their kids. Okay, I will not show, okay, this one. I want you to think about this now. Kayo naman. I want you to think about identify science and math learning competency in cooking tinolang manok. Could you just list in your notes? Could you think about how do you write a lesson or plan a lesson when students will going to cook tinolang manok? Any volunteer who want to share very quickly? If you want to, anyone could raise their hand or what? Do you have an idea how to do it? Oh, some have put in the chat, right? So you may type in our chat room. What is your idea on integrating science and math in cooking tinola, cooking rice, and other things? Great, you have proportion. You could do measurements. Sana kaya ang science dito? Where are the science people? Awesome. Boiling points and heat capacity. Great. Heat transfer. How it will be divided. Physical and chemical change. And a lot more. Mixture and compound. See? So just the situation of tinolang manok, you could have a level of integration depending on the grade level of your students. Right? Okay? So maybe you could think a very simple cooking a rice at home, right? Because these are basic skills right now that students must learn. Right now, I am not a green thumb, but I have a small garden at home now. And maybe there are a lot of homes now which they have a small garden right now, no? So how do we plan relevant activities to our students that will help them to learn the important skills in science and mathematics, right? So do you think there's science and math in gardening? What do you think? Can we also maximize those households that many of actually most of my neighborhood right now, they have a small garden at home. So can we use that? Can we connect what they are doing at home as well as in our lesson? So I just leave that to you. So think about creative lesson that you could do, maximize what the resources that they have at home. Okay? So therefore, being creative in planning lesson, if mag-isa ka lang, hindi natin yan kaya. Kailangan bayanihan. Tulong-tulong. We have to talk to our colleagues, and then we have to think about what essential activities that we could do with our students, thinking about the community where they are and the resources at home. Okay? Always remember disclaimer so based on the survey, most of you are thinking about, I will learn a lot of technology. Most of you, more than 70% of you. I hope you bear this in your mind that technology is just a tool. Teachers who work collaboratively designing lessons are the magic for student success. Okay? So maybe you have done enough for exploring technology. Try to explore at home, the community, and the resources in school so that you could innovate and you could add that in the resources that you want to distribute with your student. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Ami Buwan. So we still have enough time and we can open the floor for questions. Just just feel free to state your questions, or you can just write it down in the chat box if you want to. Okay? Who would want to shoot the first question? Yeah, that was a very interesting presentation, Dr. Buwan. And I believe that it will be very applicable to teachers, especially in the elementary, correct? Elementary level, both for science and mathematics. Okay? So, anyone? Oh, they're still thinking about the questions. Sino mag-start? So, sa chat box, all are just thanking you.
Yeah, but they're still thinking about how they will maximize the garden at home in science and math. That's what I saw in the chat box now.
Okay. Questions? People? Wala na. Maybe it was very clear and presentation. Yeah, very well said. So maybe they're just contemplating on how to implement. I mean to deliver that type of activity in their classroom.
Yeah, I guess the most challenging part is working with colleagues.
Yes. Okay, so questions, people? Wala. I think wala. It was
Janice,
loud and clear.
Janice.
Si Ma'am Janice, meron siya sinulat kanina about dun sa plants. Meron siyang comment. So,
Mm.
maybe we can read some of the comments here. Thank you very much. Okay, there's a question, ma'am, from Raquel. Now that we are preparing our pupils for the online learning, what activity in science can we give to them to test their science skills?
Yeah, online. Actually, it depends on the competency that you want to address. If you want, it's the decision of the school actually. If you will decide that you will give some performance tasks and there's a summative test, then you have to identify which content that you should include in the summative test. Because I guess we cannot get out about test, the paper and pencil test or the online test, that the objective type of test, right? So therefore, you may do objective type of test. Just make sure that the test is not only measuring knowledge, but as well as higher order thinking skills. Okay, when you do online, and then the question now is, how could we assure that the students are answering it, not the parents, right? So it's a decision now. Do you really want to, in your assessment, is it only your online assessment, or you want to let them take paper and pen in school? But that's very, you have to very careful if they will go to school for those private school. So my answer actually is, it depends on what is important for you. You may give summative tests, but make sure that you address until the analysis part. And then, by the way, for this time, consider the Maslow hierarchy of needs and Bloom's taxonomy. Kailangan magkasama yan palagi. We must be very sensitive what happened to our student.
Okay. So, more comments. We can use authentic assessment to ensure learning. Ma'am Amy, just a request that please also inform our regional supervisor as practice in STAR. We conducted lesson study, though every division is assigned to make DLP and modules. Ano ba yun, ma'am? From
Actually, my
Guam.
thoughts on this, Ma'am Guada, my thoughts on this. Still, the school right now, I guess the DepEd is not so, they're just suggesting what is the essential learning competency, but the principal have the power to what we call this, draft a policy that could support in the context of the school, right, Ma'am Guada? So use the principal empowerment. We will not wait for the regional office because in the region, we have different level of quarantine, either GCQ or ECQ. So hindi pwede yung lesson, one region, one lesson for all. Here is a question about summative. Can you suggest a specific summative assessment that we can use for distance learning? Actually, if you're in elementary or high school, we're still thinking about an objective type of test, right? To ensure that they really learn the important content in science. Just like what we are doing before, that's in a paper and pencil, and then you can transform that into a online-based exam. Okay, but to what we call that, so that you could confirm if they are really answering it, yung test, you may have another type of activity such as reflection, so that you could confirm kung maganda yung score niya sa online test, objective test, ano yung reflection niya on a certain test na hindi objective. Kung hindi, maybe it's a problem kung nakakuha ba niya yon, right? So, kailangan may confirmatory ka if you want to make sure that naintindihan niya talaga ang content. But I really support on doing performance-based tasks na mas mas yung application niya on that content that they are learning. Lalo na sa mga daily routines na ginagawa ngayon sa mga bata. You must be very creative in thinking about that. And then, yun nga, ang sabi ko kanina, technology is just a tool. Ang magic ngayon, teachers. The teachers who design collaboratively, creatively plan a lesson that connects that content that they should learn to the resources that they have at home. So, kayo talaga ang magic, not the technology.
Ayan. Marami pang questions, ma'am. On blended learning, how will you know if the child is really the ones who is answering the assignment? And then idugtong na natin yung
Right.
how can we check daw the reliability of the results of assessment for distance learning?
Yeah, that's very challenging. That's very challenging. But that's why you must think about varied type of assessment. Because if you only rely on that objective test and you don't have other tests to confirm the content that the student will learn, then magka-problema tayo niyan. So therefore, you must think about a varied type of assessment. Like yung pinakita ko kanina, you must also think about kung online, purely online kaya, maybe sa private school, makikita mo yung planning ng bata. You must ask the student to write their own goal. Alam mo naman yung paano magsulat yung bata na goal at ang problema niyan kung ang parent is nagbata-bataan, right? But I guess right now, kailangan natin kausapin ang mga parents. Because yung distance learning, I guess, will be implemented only for private school, for private school. But for public school, we could work together on how do we confirm that the students are really doing it. Kasi if it's a blended thing, they do it in school, and then some activities at home, and then dun sa showcasing is in school, then you could confirm if the student is really doing it or not. But remember, we'll plan together with parents na hindi pwedeng mag-cheat sila that yung trabaho ng bata is sila. Right? Nafi-fail din natin bakit nila pinapasok yung mga bata sa eskwelahan, right? So, maybe out of your 50 students, I hope there were only one student who will cheat. In my experience in UPOU, malalaman mo talaga kung sinong nag-cheat. no? So even though purely online kami, alam namin kung which activity na hindi siya ang gumagawa. It's because you have to have a varied type of assessment. Hindi pwedeng isa lang. Kung isa lang, then that that will not very purposeful assessment.
Yung question, ma'am, na would you prefer flipped learning over distance learning?
It depends actually. It depends on the situation. It depends on the level of quarantine in your area. Actually, for us, hindi namin siya tinatawag as distance learning. Tinatawag namin siyang remote learning or remote teaching. Kasi when you talk about distance learning, para kasing the students at a distance, and then you have varied modules and you are flexible. Ngayon kasi yung nangyayari ngayon, our school, yung instruction natin is supposed to be a face-to-face school, right? Face-to-face instruction. And because of this pandemic, gumagamit tayo ng distance or ng mga tools to support na kahit wala sila sa school, we could still do it. So, tinatawag namin siyang remote teaching. Hindi naman ginagamit yung distance. But anyway, maybe we'll have the same understanding. It depends on the school. Kasi yung flip, pwede silang pumunta sa school and then sa bahay yung iba. Maybe yung fully distance, hindi talaga sila pupunta sa school. In my own opinion, meron akong apo at pwede na siyang papaaralin for K2. Hindi ko muna siya ipapa-enroll. In my case. So, mas okay na doon lang siya sa bahay and then maglalaro kami ng Uno because before, he had a difficulty on counting 1, 2, 3, 4. But when we played Uno, madali niyang naintindihan paano mag-add ng 2 and 4 and 6, ilang baraha yung kukunin ko. Kasi dapat manalo siya eh. Right? So, it really depends on the parent. So, yun. At saka yung situation natin ngayon.
Yeah.
So, would I prefer flip learning over distance learning? It depends on your area.
Yeah. Okay. More question. Ma'am Amy says here, in our school, we are using 7 E's of inquiry learning. What best practices could you recommend to us science teachers? This is from Raymark Marzan.
Best practice.
For science teachers.
Yun pa rin, di ba? Yung, when you want to engage your student, kailangan kasi ngayon, naka-connect siya on what is happening in our world. At ano yung resources ng mga bata na pwede nilang gamitin para mas maintindihan nila yung concept na ipipresent mo if you want to engage them. And then yung E, yung extension na pwede nilang gawin sa bahay, yun, pag-isipan mo kung ano yung resources na nasa bahay nila at kung yung mga parents niya is pwede makakatulong sa kanya sa project na yun. So, I guess on that case, the differentiated instruction would really be very important now. It depends on anong situation ng mga estudyante natin. Yun, ma'am. Yun yung sagot ko.
Okay. So, I thought patapos na. There's another question. In my case, ma'am, I have a 6-year-old son. I have second thought of enrolling him to school. Even there's blended learning because I go to the office and no one will assist him in using the internet. That's from Malen.
For 6 years old, for me, hindi ko pa i-recommend na mag-virtual classroom siya. Para kasi pag, di ba, virtual class, parang pinipilit mo siyang mag-aral. So, hindi pa nila kaya yun. So, for me, as a grandma, hindi ko pa siya i-enroll if the school would do virtual learning. At hindi ko rin kaya na mag face-to-face pa siya. It depends actually. Iba-iba yung decision natin.
So, okay, ang challenge talaga is for the parents to be able to implement homeschool, no? Talagang
Yes.
napakalaking challenge sa parents how to do it. So we will become the teachers ngayon ng ating mga anak sa bahay. So it's a bigger challenge for us not only to manage the house but more so to do that homeschool for our children, for our grandchildren.
Pero yung mga ano natin dito, yung situation natin ngayon, depende talaga on kung ano yung analysis natin on our situation right now. Yung mga decision natin.
Yeah.
So, iba-iba yung decision natin.
Okay.
So, hindi pwede yung, kung ako, ito yung decision ng grandson ko, iba din siguro sa inyo. Right? So, depende.
Okay, so with that, I think we have answered sufficiently all the questions of our participants. So I would like to, in behalf of STAR and Science Education Institute, we would like to thank Dr. Amy Buwan for this opportunity to serve as a resource person on this very relevant topic. So thank you.
Maraming salamat.
And
Thank you
now,
for
thank
listening.
you, ma'am. So that's it. Thank you very much. Until the next webinar. So just stay tuned at our Facebook page, Science Teacher Academy for the Regions, for announcement on our upcoming seminars. But probably the next seminar this coming first week of June would be on science. So thank you so much. Stay safe, stay healthy. Goodbye.